Morning. Time is now 9:30 a.m. Today's date is Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. This is the time and place for our regularly scheduled business meeting of the Public Service Commission. We are in the Bollinger Room here at the Commission. Would my colleagues join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, thank you, colleagues. I would note for the record at this time that Commissioner O'Donnell is excused. Present today in the Bollinger Room are myself, Vice President Fielder, and Commissioner Bukacek. I believe that Commissioner Panochi will be joining us shortly. All right, so we do have quorum this morning. Montana Public Service Commission welcomes public comment on any matter that is on today's agenda or on any matter that's within the jurisdiction of the Montana Public Service Commission. Are there any public commenters in the room? Any public commenters in the room? Seeing none. Are there any public commenters online? I'm being informed there are not. All right. There are no changes to the agenda for today, so we'll move right into our action items. Action item number 1 is approval of the commission minutes for the week of September 25th, 2023. Is there a motion, Vice President Fielder?
Mr. President, I move approval of the commission minutes for the week of September 25th, 2023.
Is there a second?
I second.
We have a motion that's been seconded. Discussion, revisions to the draft minutes? Amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the Vice President's motion to adopt the minutes for the week of September 25th, 2023 as written, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. Seeing no opposition, minutes are approved 3-0. All right, let's move into our work session items. Work session item number 1 is docket 2023.03.019. This is Island Partners Holdings LLC. A special permit request for continued use of Zaplock joints on the Bakken natural gas residue line. We're here to consider modifying the special permit approved on September 12, 2023 by the Commission, which such special permit has not been issued. Mr. Tierney?
Morning, Mr. President. That's correct. The Commission had issued a couple of weeks ago the special permit in the Highland Partners Bakken line. We inadvertently left a section of code in there when we were drafting this with PHMSA that did not apply. And when the commission acted on it, had that section of code in it. We're just asking the commission to remove that section of code. It has no bearing. It does not change the special permit. It does not change the conditions. It was just an error that when we're drafting this, looking at various sections of code that got in there and should have come back out. So we're just asking the commission at this point to remove section 192.112, issue the order as is, and send it off to Highland so they can get going on their conditions.
Very good. Ms. Wachowski, anything to offer?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one thing, you have in your reading materials a draft revised order granting Highland the special permit with those changes that Mr. Tierney mentioned, and staff recommends that you adopt that order as your final order and authorize staff to issue the order with non-substantive changes.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wachowski. All right. Is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Vice President Fielder.
I move that the commission revise the permit to remove all reference to the waiver of 49 CFR 192.1112B and also revise the effective date of the special permit to December 15th, 2023.
All right. Is there a second?
I second.
Commissioner Bukacek has seconded. We have motion second. Discussion. Questions for the staff? Vice President Fielder?
No, I don't think I have questions, Mr. President, just a comment that I appreciate staff's work with PHMSA on this and their cooperation. I know PHMSA has the opportunity to review and I believe approve this permit as well. And it sounds like staff's done a really good job of working with them, and much of the information that's in this permit or the requirements came from PHMSA. So that helps my comfort level with it even more than I had before, knowing that approval is very likely because of that collaboration that's already occurred.
Very good. Additional discussion or comments? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of the Vice President's motion signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying no. Seeing no opposition, motion carries unanimously at 3-0 vote.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Attorney, Ms. Fahowski. All right, let's move to work session item number 2. This is docket 2023.06.058. This is Energy West Montana Inc., a cut bank gas company. We have before us a motion for partial waiver of ARM 38.5.16 and 38.5194. So we're here to consider EWM and CBGC's request to waive for the rate case expected to be filed in January 24, the requirements of the two arms that I have just referenced. Ms. Fahowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, commissioners. As Mr. President, you mentioned Energy West Montana and Cut Bank Gas Company have filed a joint motion for a partial waiver of Montana Administrative Rules 38.5.176 and 38.5.194. As you also indicated, they filed the motion because they're going to be filing a natural gas rate case expected to be filed in January of 2024 before the commission. And their filing will be subject to the commission's minimum rate case filing standards, which are set out in Montana Administrative Rules 38.5.101 through 38.5.195. Now, those standards require, among other things, that Energy West Montana and Cut Bank Gas prepare and file a marginal cost of service study, or what we sometimes refer to as MCOS. The party's motion seeks to waive the rules mentioned previously to the extent that they require filing and MCOS in their upcoming rate case. In place of an MCOS, Energy West Montana and Cut Bank Gas would like to file an embedded cost of service study, or what's known as an ECOS. Now, the commission has previously waived the MCOS requirement for other utilities, including Montana Dakota Utilities Company and Northwest Energy, and staff recommends that the requested waiver be granted here. As indicated in the staff memo and the draft notice of commission action that you have before you in your reading materials, the usefulness of a MCOS in a context of a natural gas rate case is somewhat questionable, and the commission has not hesitated to look at or even rely on ECOS information in the past when considering rate cases. The draft notice of commission action in your reading materials grants Energy West Montana and Cut Bank Gas their requested waiver, and staff therefore recommends that the commission adopt the draft notice as the commission's final notice of commission action and authorize staff to issue that notice with any appropriate non-substantive changes. And if you have any questions, I or some other staff would be happy to try to answer your questions.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Fahowski. Is there a motion? Commissioner Bukacek?
I move to grant EWM and CBCG's request waiver and issue the proposed notice of commission action with appropriate non-substantive edits.
All right. Is there a second? Vice President Fielder?
I second the motion, Mr. President.
All right. We have a motion and second. Is there a discussion? Commissioner Bukacek?
It just seems clear cut. MCOS is unnecessary, including some redundancy, and the fact that it's been waived for other utilities. It seems clear cut, and thank you so much.
All right. Additional discussion, questions?
Just one question.
Vice President Fielder?
It may not be germane to the motion specifically, but just I know that we've been going through and doing rule review, and is this on the agenda for a review in terms of a possible recommendation to just repeal this section of the rule that is being asked to be waived, given the fact that it doesn't seem to really have value in the natural gas rate case process?
Mr. President, Vice President Fielder, yes, in fact, it is one of the rules that we have identified some time ago. As you might recall, I and Gwen Knight were actually hired to look at some of those rules. And during our discussions with staff early on, that was one of the rules that we identified as being slated for revision.
Thank
Well,
you.
All right, additional discussion, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Commissioner Bukacek's motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. Seeing no opposition, motion carries unanimously by a 3-0 vote. All right, thank you, Ms. Fahowski. All right, just a couple housekeeping matters. First, for public awareness, the agency will be appearing before the Legislative Audit Committee this coming Thursday, the 5th. We are slated for 10:40 a.m. No, in room 172 of the state capitol. And then for those that regularly follow commission proceedings, we will not be holding our next commission business meeting on Tuesday, October 10th. Instead, our next commission business meeting will be Tuesday, October 17th, 2023 at the regularly scheduled time of 9:30 a.m. So again, for public consumption, no business meeting, October 10th.
Mr. President,
Vice President
just since our calendar shows 9:40 a.m. on Thursday, should we make a note that correction at the correct time is
Yes, we-
different than what's on the calendar?
Yes, we should. All right, thank you for noting that. Seeing no further business to come before the commission. Time is now 9:42 a.m. I will adjourn today's business meeting.